New tonight at this half hour, a legendary Port Clinton bootlegger is at the center of a modern-day tax lawsuit involving two tiny pieces of land and more than $100,000 in delinquent taxes, penalties, and assessments. John Zetzer, he was known for fast boats, airplanes, and mobsters from the Prohibition era. And now, decades after his death, his descendants say they were shocked to learn they were named in a lawsuit tied to property they didn't even know they still owned. Our Brian Duggar has the story.
John Zetzer's name was already part of Port Clinton legend. A rum runner, a pilot, a businessman.
This is my grandfather here.
And according to his grandson, Thomas Zetzer, a storyteller.
Oh, we talked about his rum running days, which was quite interesting to me. I took him to school with me in junior high, and he didn't want to leave after the period was up. He wanted to keep talking. And I think he would have stayed there all day if they let him.
Those stories included chases on Lake Erie near West Sister Island.
They got picked up by the Coast Guard. They got on their tail off the west side of West Sister Island one time, and they had to start pouring throwing booze out of the boat into the lake. And he had a place in Toussaint, so he went to Toussaint and abandoned the boat, hid in the water, and breathed through a bamboo reed.
And when the lake was not the route, Thomas says Zetzer took to the air.
His first was a J5 Waco, which was an open biplane that he used to haul liquor in. And then he had 2 or 3 Beechcraft Bonanzas.
He was a very colorful man. You didn't want to mess with him.
A granddaughter, Debbie McCollum, says family stories even connected Zetzer to Alvin Karpis, the Depression-era gangster. But the story is not about old crimes. It's about 2 tiny Port Clinton parcels owned by the family and a very large tax bill, more than $115,000. McCollum calls the land a postage stamp.
You'd be lucky if it's worth $5,000.
The lawsuit names several Zetzer descendants as defendants. McCollum lives in California. She says the legal paperwork started arriving last fall.
My first phone call to anybody was on October the 3rd to the auditor's office. And I sent you all my notes too, asking them what's going on, etc. That's when they told me that the tax bills had been mailed out to my uncle Ronnie to his house. Well, he passed away.
Family members say they believe John Zetzer's estate had been settled decades ago. McCollum says if they'd known about the taxes, they would have handled it.
Between 30 of us, $10 is not going to break any of us. Even one of us could have said, here's $300, pay those taxes, sell that property.
You see, the sidewalk was there.
And when Thomas saw the 6-figure number, he worried about what it could mean for the family.
Not real good. I'm disabled and I'm on SSI, disability, Medicare. My wife works and we live paycheck to paycheck.
But Ottawa County Treasurer Tony Hatmaker says the family isn't being asked to pay that money. In a phone interview, he told 11 Investigates the county isn't going after Zetzer's descendants personally. He says the goal is to foreclose on the property, clear decades of delinquency, and get the land back on the tax rolls. County Attorney Jim Barney told us he's still working to track down and serve all the descendants. Once that happens, he expects to ask the court for summary judgment, allowing foreclosure to move forward.
So if they made a mistake somewhere in there, let the title company pay for that error. If not, then just take the property. We don't care. First of all, we didn't know we had it.
McCollum says if her grandfather were alive, he wouldn't be quiet about any of this.
He'd say, prove this to me. He'd say, by cracky, I don't owe you a damn dime, he'd say. And you prove I owe you that money. That's what he would do.
And for Thomas Zetzer, it's just another bizarre chapter in a family story that already sounds like legend.
It's a strange thing to have this pop up after 40 years.
Reporting in Port Clinton, I'm Brian Duggar for 11 Investigates.